All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's discuss explaining the con. It's a feature 5-part docuseries by Bill Black and a fellow by the name of Patrick Lovell from Salt Lake City, and a group of the experts from around the United States that have begun to realize that the gargantuan looting of the U.S. economy, the mortgage system, the banks, the pension funds, all the Wall Street accounts, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, the savings and loans. Sorry, Bill Black, I almost left that out. And the massive real estate scheming and scamming, predatory subprime mortgages, and predatory subprime foreclosures, which are used to launder vast amounts of dirty money. Folks, I want to take you back to the 1970s in Houston, Texas, to a little project called the Colonial House, and how the Powers brothers down there at the Summit Arena, the Summit Towers, were engaged in huge real estate fraud scheming and scamming, using HUD loans and FHA loans to finance their racketeering. You shift a little bit forward and you can look at a massive number of real estate schemes and scams all through the 70s, 80s, 90s, and up to the great big popping of the bubbles in 2008. But then you can also go backwards to Arizona and the Poconos and Florida. Florida has been just an enormous crime scene since the early part of the 1900s, with all kinds of speculative real estate swindling. This kind of real estate racketeering goes back to the Homestead Act frauds and the Indian land frauds, and a lot of the granted lands to the American railroads during the 1800s and early 1900s. Real estate schemes and scams in Texas, Arizona, Florida, the Carolinas, Utah, Bill Black, has been just a gargantuan crime scene with these recreational dirt road subdivisions, which just by coincidence happen to be the same thing as colonias, and then of course red flag, unrecorded, illegal subdivisions in Utah are known as recreational dirt road subdivisions. So folks, I'm going to try to keep this a little bit short, but it's difficult to do so because trillions, literally trillions, have been looted and laundered through this real estate scheming and scamming. A good place to examine some of this fraud is go take a look at the land development projects of Charlie Keating and the Lincoln Savings and Loan. And then of course you got BB&T Bank out of Wilmington, Delaware. They had a whole bunch of phantom land developments, like Neil Bush and the Colorado-based Lincoln. No, it wasn't Lincoln. That'll come to me here in a minute. But yeah, Neil Bush's little Silverado, the Silverado Bank, precisely and exactly like the colonious, unrecorded dirt road land developments of the Clintons in Arkansas. The Clintons were doing this at Whitewater, Castle Grande, Maplewood Farms, and they got involved with it up in Nova Scotia at Campobello Island. They were doing these subdivision land flipping schemes at Campobello Island. Lee Farkas and Andy Farkas, the Farkas twins there, Taylor Bean and Whitaker, and the interactions with Epstein and Associates. Old Jeffrey Epstein and his connections to the Triad Development Corporation of Khashoggi Ghebbanifar and Donald Trump. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Donald Trump's real estate empire, Deutsche Bank, JP Morgan Chase, Credit Suisse, WAMU. Let's not forget old Superior Bank, and we can name a whole bunch of other banks from Wells Fargo to Countrywide, and the list just goes on, including Premier, Pioneer, and Paramount Mortgage Funding of old Gerald Cugno. Aspire Lending, which is now Texas Mortgage Lending or Texas Lending, something like that, out of Dallas, Texas. Good old Aspire. And then we can go back to the Western banks in Houston. Rito Labobetti Group, RLG Holdings, Westgate Investments, currently operating out of Dubai, known as Purple Capital. Purple Capital, very interesting gang of scammers there from Uptown Houston, old Uptown Houston, where Oliver North and Richard Secord and Poindexter North, Casey, Roland Carnaby, Bud McFarland, Clark Clifford and Roger Altman of BCCI. Clark Clifford, Roger Altman of BCCI, and the American Continental Corporation. You know, American Continental Title Insurance went on to be FATCO, First American Title Insurance, and MERS. They morphed into MERS. This story of a real estate dirt dealing, flipping, and churning, it's all real estate centered. All of this mortgage swindling and securitization is all traceable to the real estate industry, the building materials suppliers industry, title insurance, everything to do with real estate development is tied into this giant con. Exposing / explaining the con. And that's from my pals over at Modern Progressives or True Progressives. I forget what they exactly identify themselves as. The gargantuan, immense, just too big to even explain, too large to explain lootings and failures of these mortgage-based, real estate development, speculation-based funding entities from Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, FHA, VA. You can go all day long with this story. It all is centered upon the same real estate development practices as what Bill and Hillary Clinton were pulling with Jim and Susan McDougal up there on the White River at flipping the dirt deals at Whitewater and flipping Arkansas. They were flipping real estate at flipping Arkansas. I'd like to give a special thanks to Mark Lombardi, a special thanks to Brian Quigg, a very special thanks to the Catbird's Nest, Bobby Harmon, and all of Bobby Harmon's friends. He had quite a crew of friends. Ozark Apathy, I forget how they listed their name, exposing all the real estate schemes and swindles in Arkansas. And I can literally go all day long from Martin Mayer, Peter Bruton, Kathy Gordon, Lucy Proctor. We'll even throw Catherine Austin Fitz in there. Linda Miner was with the Quintessential Joust. The Quintessential Joust, explaining all the funny little real estate development schemes and scams around John Conley and Phil Graham and Congressman Henry B. Gonzalez, and on and on and on. Bill Black knows this tune very well. Folks, I'm getting a little bit long-winded here, which I always do. And all the links and information that you could possibly ask for are listed before. And the last thing I want to say here is quite simply this. The best way to rob a nation is to run the DNC and the RNC. The best way to rob a bank is to be the head of the RNC, DNC. The best way to rob a bank, Bill Black, is to own a few dozen of them. Yeah, there you go, Bill Black. So to the investigative reporters and editors, and my old friend Paul Friggins, the author of Beware of the Ranchero Racketeers, and Don Bowles, poor old Don Bowles, they blew him up in his car. They blew his legs off. It took him 11 hours to die from his legs being blown off. and in his little Datsun there during the investigations in Arizona about real estate fraud. To my pals that busted wide open the Valley of the Lakes racketeering trial up in the Poconos, all my friends and family around BYU University, and go Cougars, right? The massive real estate land frauds in Utah. I want to give a tip of a hat to them folks up at Sundance and up at Salt Lake City. Folks, this story is just mind-bending. It goes so far beyond bank robbing and train robbing and Wall Street looting, it just absolutely staggers the mind. So, folks, I'm going to wind it up right there, and as always, look up Looted Stupid, the toxic zombie developments. That's from my friends Matt Widener and Mark Stopa, and Ann Pellegrino. Hi, Ann. How you doing, Ann? And on we could go, but we're at 11 minutes, so I'm going to just shut it down right here. And as always, folks, hasta la vista, God bless, and never, 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 ever, never forget Looted Nation, the great Texas bank job, 84 captures since 2000. We'll see you next time.